I'm going to attempt in 5 minutes to teach you version control. This is not going to happen. So this is going to be a version source control system management a Lollapalooza awareness campaign. So let's go into that. What is version or source control, and why should you care? Who, when, how, where? I'm going to try to touch on all of these points. There's just so much, but really there's too much to explain. I'm going to do just a sum up and an awareness. So let's keep moving. Here's a horror story for all game developers. In 5 words or less, you don't need version control. Really. It's in Dropbox. You're fine. I have a Google Drive. We're okay, really. No. All right. Chris Murphy, evangelist. Delaney King was the previous person. She is awesome. You should follow her. Chris Murphy, an evangelist for Unreal, did a little poll recently, and of 860 people who responded who had gone to school for game dev, 64% had not been taught version control. And even based on the comments to his Twitter thread, the ones who were taught it were not taught it very well. I, for one, at Drexel, am going to be trying to change that pretty dramatically. I don't know if I'm going to set freshmen up day one with a repo, but watch out. We're going there maybe. So what is it? What is version control? Well, it's all about a beautiful ocean. Is the Q&A panel in the middle of my screen? How embarrassing.
I can't see it.
Oh, okay, good. I just moved it over anyway. All right. 1 minute 43. Keep going, Rob. It's a beautiful landscape with a river going down to the sea. And the river is the repository of all human knowledge. And artists and designers and coders all are they're all adding stuff into the stream, and the stream gets bigger and it goes along, and it's all in one place. That's the key thing, that repository with all that institutional knowledge of the group and of the project is persistent in this thing. And you can go, if you don't lose focus of where you're, there we go, slide forward. You can go back in time. You can continue to make these contributions to the core. And if you mess something up or you change your mind, you can go back in time, go uphill, go upstream, and go to an earlier part for just a single file or for a whole thing. 2 minutes, 43 seconds. Got to keep moving on. Can it get complicated? You bet your butt it can get complicated. Multiple branches, multiple streams, too much. Got to move on. Why should you care? Why do we care about version control, Rob? Well, where's your stuff? What happens if something dies, like a hard drive? Why do you have 40 million named versions of that file? Which one really is the most recent final this time? I mean it, .psd. And is it safe? Is it secret? Have you kept your work stuff controlled? You really should have used version control. That's why you should use it, to keep you from being kept awake at night wondering where your stuff is. Who should use it? Gosh darn it, everybody. For everything. The true power of version control comes into play when everybody uses it for everything. Master files as well as in development things that are going into the build. When should you use it? Oh, it's a big important question. Every day. You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you check out your files. You work all day, work, and then you brush your teeth and you check your files in at the end of the day. Good job. All right. Every day you use version control. How do you set it up? Well, I'm already at the 4-minute mark, so this is not going to happen. How do you set it up? Well, you can do it locally on a local machine. You can actually have Perforce or something running on your local machine just to check in your personal projects. You don't need to have a group project, need version control. You can protect yourself just on you and your solo project. You can do it remotely in the cloud. You can do it freely, even with a tool like Perforce, which is the one that I've secretly been thinking about this whole time in the back of my head. Perforce, you can get it for free. 5 users, limited workspaces, all that kind of stuff, but you can run it locally on your own hardware or put that on the net. You can put it up in the cloud. get a free year of AWS or even an extended beyond free tier. I could go on forever on that one, but man, I'm at 5 minutes now and I've really got to wrap this up. So let's move on, shall we? Yeah, it's a client to server thing. Yeah, I don't even know what this slide was about. Unity and Perforce. The reason I'm going to talk about Perforce in this, reason I was talking about Perforce and I'm already over my 5 minutes is that Perforce is an industrial strength professional level tool. Major tools like Unity, Unreal, Max, Maya, all these things have default built-in integration with this toolkit. Epic Games, maker of Unreal, uses Perforce for their stuff. They're going to tie into it well. There's stuff you need to do to tell the tools that, hey, I'm using version control. And there's files you want to track and there's files you don't want to track. That would probably be useful for me to tell you, but I'm already at 6 minutes and I really got to wrap this up. So Unreal and Perforce, they're like this, close buds. Lots of other tools, Maya, Max, Jenkins, Jira, Slack, Adobe Photoshop. And I just learned today, these are tools that you don't have to only use these tools. You can use any tool you want and version control those files. These are tools that Perforce specifically makes add-ins and plugins for and tight integrations with. I just learned today actually that about the Windows File Explorer integration. I didn't know about that and I'm really excited about it and hopefully it doesn't suck because that could be a really nice way to connect to things. And I just saw this recently. Somebody was playing around with how to get Houdini files to be ASCII, not binary files, so they would be able to be version controlled and therefore merged as ASCII files more conveniently than condensed binary files. How do you use it? I'm at 7 minutes and I have to stop. So you're just going to have to imagine how you might use it. But you get the latest stuff. You tell people you're working on things. You check stuff out. You work. You check stuff in. You put a message on the things you check in so people know what you did. And then you do a difference or a merge as needed. That's the really tricky part. And boy, that would have been probably good to show in this 5-minute presentation. But really, I'm out of time. So, hey, oh my gosh, there's tool specific stuff too. And then where can you learn more? I'm going to give you a whole bunch of links, but I got to go now.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Rob.
That was horrible.
Before
oh
we
my
get to
God.
No, can I say that, like, yes, over time, but other than over time, everything else was great, and especially the ad-libbing that was coming with it was absolutely great toward Perforce.
Micah, I love the pun. I'm going to use that one.
I'm going to give you, before we go to the questions, and please put Q&A in the panels for Rob. I just want to give you the best compliment that I think I can give you, which is that, so we're using version control for Little Nemo, the game I'm working on with a team. But I have not been using version control for my personal project. That I have like a backlog of different versions on my Google Drive. But you have convinced me from this presentation. You have convinced me that I've never used Perforce before. I will set up Perforce with Unity on my personal project and give it a shot and take it from there. I'm very, very curious about it now.
There are many version control systems. None of them are perfect. All of them are nightmarish in their own special magical way. Perforce is what I like to teach and use because it's the least nightmarish, but mainly because it's better to have Perforce on your resume than Git or SVN or anything else. It's great to have any version control on your resume, but Perforce is more valuable in game dev, especially at the industry level. Question from Mr. Sharp. Hello, Mr. Sharp. What would the benefit of using Perforce over Git solutions? So
I thought you were just answering that question.
No, well, I gave the reason for why I teach it to students, or I'm trying to teach it to students, and why the rationale for that resume line, specifically why Perforce technically over Git or others is really comes One, it's integrations. They're stronger with core tools. But most importantly, it's binary files and dealing with complicated binary files like in Unity with prefabs and scene files. If you have multiple people working on the same prefabs or same scenes, they have actually a dedicated tool, which, again, nothing is perfect and your mileage may vary, but there is an actual specific binary merge tool for Unity to deal with the merging of scenes and prefabs. It deals with them. Yes, GitHub has the LFS, the live file server service, or whatever the LFS stands for. It has problems in that it can get slow if you've got a lot of binaries in your project, and it's just not as elegant a solution to deal with the full spectrum of version control. If you're just doing code and that's all you're doing, then Git is going to be fine, and you're probably already using Git and you're probably already comfortable with Git as a programmer. If you're working with artists as well as coders and you're dealing with binary files and you're dealing with the large master files as well as the runtime going into build files, Perforce is going to deal with all of that better. It's going to deal with most of it's going to be a little bit more smooth. And they've come up with some recent tools that are Helix Sync. P4V is the standard thing, and it's still a little bit cryptic for an artist to use. There's a new tool that's been out for a little bit now. It's just getting to a good usable stage called Helix Sync, which makes it even more user-friendly for a non-technical person, which really, if you're a digital content creator, you're a technical person. But Helix Sync is a little easier to use. So it's more robust, it's more stable, it's more competent at dealing with large binaries, and it's going to be used at large scale. It is really tricky in that middle ground. Small to mid-sized studios might have a hard time justifying the cost of Perforce over other solutions. So in school, free and easy. I've got an unlimited license with Drexel, hundreds of users. And large scale industry, it's cost effective. Middle-sized studios, it's a harder argument.